Alright, we recently had the over-the-air patch in Marvel Snap, and with that came some pretty cool changes to both Nimrod, Nick Fury. We had a buff to Red Skull, or a change to Red Skull, making it better in like Shuri decks or Sauron decks. And so today we are going to be jumping straight into a Nimrod build, and we're going to be jumping into Gold Conquest. Now, I did just run a Gold Conquest against what I swear had to be a bot. Like, the way the RNG fell, the deck that they were running just didn't make sense in a lot of the battles. Like, it was a destroy deck, but it also had an Enchantress and a Cosmo, and besides the point, we're going to be jumping straight into Gold Conquest with Invisible Thanos. And so this one has some really cool lines. You can do the Invisible Woman into a Taskmaster directly behind it, into a Shuri and Destroyer into a different lane, allowing you to get a 30 power burst into 2 locations that comes as a relative surprise. And so the first match that we have is against Exential. And so we're going to be able to draw a few cards. We can also surprise them with a turn 6 magic play, so extending the game on turn 6 after doing Invisible Woman plus magic behind the Invisible Woman and then moving it out with the Space Stone. That would allow us to kind of surprise the opponent with that game extension when they're going to play their last turn plays on turn 6. So we do get our Taskmaster. The Altar of Death is not bad for us, especially if we can end up drawing into our Nimrod. So I do kind of like this one, but I'm not sure if I like it enough to snap into. So we're just going to do Space Stone for now. We can move the monster over. They do have Mr. Sinister, so it could be a Patriot deck. Patriot build could make a lot of sense with the Mr. Sinister. It could be Cerebro too, but that one is not nearly as common in battle mode as a Patriot build. Patriot is just a little bit stronger, a little bit more consistent in most games. So I'm just going to do Time Stone into the Altar of Death. Going to give us some absurd reach on turn 4. They do use a Blue Marvel, and then they Wasp into the Altar of Death to get some further reach. The Blue Marvel, I expect a Patriot at some point. Muir Island is not terrible for us with our Venom to be able to kind of clump those cards together. We do now get the Nimrod, which is beautiful value. We only have 1 stone left in our deck, and that is the Power Stone. The Mind Stone's going to pull it out. We're going to have extra energy going into turn 5. We have the Nimrod already on the board, so then we can start doing things like Venom, maybe a Destroyer into a Venom later. We have Shang Chi to take out any kind of big power play that they have. We can take out their monster in the left lane. We don't have our Shuri just yet, but I think that's okay. Okay, so the Invisible Woman does come down in Muir Island, which is a little bit scary because then that could be a Patriot. It could be an Onslaught. With them having 6 energy this turn, it's going to be most likely either Iron Lad or Patriot stuck behind this lane. There's a couple of cool ways that we could do this one, but I can't quite figure out what the best play is going to be. So I'm just going to Venom in the right lane. We're going to Shang Chi in the left to take out the monster. I thought about doing something where we get a really big Venom into the Taskmaster on the last turn, but I just couldn't figure it out in time. So they have the Iron Man come down in the Monster Island location. So that does potentially become a tough lane to win. We could always do this. I don't know if it's enough to win. It really depends on what they end up playing, but I do think we stick this one out. I assume we see Patriot and an Ultron, Patriot and a Doctor Doom. The only good thing is the Doctor Doom bots are going to be a little bit less impactful than they were before. Okay, so the Patriot comes down, the Iron Lad comes down, so it is a Hail Mary play. What do they end up getting from the Iron Lad, the Ultron? Are we able to overcome the Ultron play? It's very close. Okay, we are. We are able to overcome the Ultron play in the Altar of Death. I'm surprised that they stuck that one out with the little bit of a gamble that they had to do with the Iron Lad. And so we take an early 4-cube lead, which was not a clean win, but it was a win nonetheless, and so we will absolutely take it. So Shuri's lab is phenomenal. If we can get Shuri, Nimrod, their deck is not going to benefit as much from Shuri's lab as ours will. So if we can get Shuri and Nimrod both in Shuri's lab, that should be, I think, the game. We do have Killmonger. So Killmonger can take out the Misty Knight. It could take out the Ultron bots if we place it behind an Invisible Woman. I think we are going to go ahead and just play Space Stone for now. We're going to try to continue to get some additional draw, some additional reach. We have our Nimrod, which is a good start. But I do think we still have some room to go. And so we do get the Invisible Woman now. I assume that the opponent is not going to have an Enchantress. And so we could do Invisible Woman. Our Killmonger would be safe behind that location. We could magic a location. I don't think they're going to have a way to change it. And so with Conquest mode, things like magic, things like Killmonger, Shang Chi are going to become a lot more pinpointed and a lot more specific the longer you play, because you know the deck a little bit better. So they do cap out their middle location. We will have Misty Knight destroyed at some point, but the Broods and the Broodlings are relatively tough to overcome. But we're going to hide the Killmonger into the Forge. We're not going to draw any additional Sentinels until those cards reveal, which is perfectly fine. Their Iron Lad copies Wasp, so we know that they have that. The double power in Shuri's Lab does put it within Shang-Chi range, which I think is really good for us. Alright, so I'm not going to snap into it, but we do have Nimrod for Shuri's Lab. We could always go Shang-Chi for that same location, taking out the Iron Lad. But it becomes a little bit scary really fast. So we do get the double destruction. Before this turn, we only had the one trigger in the Carnage. And so what we can do now is we can do something like a big Carnage into a big Venom. Actually, I like the idea of doing the big Venom in the left lane. We will send another Nimrod back that direction, but just in case they go something like Ultron, they go something like Iron Man, I want to have ourselves kind of protected in the Shuri's Lab location, and this is going to elevate our power potential. We're also going to have 24 power in the middle location, so unless they have some insane reach, I think we're okay here. And so we are going to snap into it now. I know that it's on turn 6. Normally I don't snap on turn 6 because it really just encourages a retreat unless the opponent is confident. But in this scenario, we top decked the resource that we needed. And so we are going to go ahead and go with this line. They do have the Ultron, which becomes a 16 power card. They have the Wasp also in the Shuri's Lab lane. And so we know that we're going to be able to win the Eternity range. We should be able to win Shuri's Lab with the Venom coming down, doubling in power. It's going to be something like a 30-something on its own. And then we have the Nimrod that will jump back in that location, giving it an extra reach, an extra 12. We also have the Killmonger, which I completely forgot about, allowing us to sweep all 3 locations here, dropping Existential down to 2 bars of health very, very early on, very quickly. And so now we just need to bring it the rest of the way home. So let's go ahead and jump into round number 3. All right, we are straight into round number 3. Let's see, the first location is Haunted Embassy, which is not great for us. We didn't have a lot of cards early on. If it would have hit Nimrod, that would have been beautiful. We do have our Mind Stone. We have our Killmonger to be able to draw additional resources, the magic to get the additional reach. So I think we snap into it. I think we make Exential commit to either an all or nothing here. Since they only have 2 bars of health, we can, and we have 10, we can start bullying them a little bit. We're using our advantage, our lead against them. The Mind Stone is also a fantastic start into the game. Okay, and so they do stick it out. So this is potentially the last round of the first match. We get 2 more of our stones. We know that they likely don't have a Cosmo. So I think we're just going to go all in on this left lane. We're going to get as much card draw as possible. Next turn we can end up going with like a Carnage. Okay, we do get the retreat. I'm wondering if maybe they just didn't have a good hand, if they got frustrated and they didn't want to try to stage a comeback. It is very daunting, 10 bars of health against 2, and so we get the retreat. We will go ahead and take the first round victory in gold, see if we can take this unique Thanos deck the rest of the way through our gold conquest run. We are going to jump straight into battle number 2. All right, jumping straight into round number 2. We're going to continue with our very unique Thanos build. And so it's very reminiscent of Ororong's Thanos build that had Heimdal shift to get a turn 6 magic play more frequently. And so it uses a lot of those same elements. All right, so we waited just a little bit. We have Nemoski as our second opponent. We start with the Mind Stone, which is fantastic for a Thanos deck, because that gives you so much early draw to get through your stones. That is going to generate some additional utility. It also allows you to more consistently draw into your key resources that you're going to need to win the rest of the game. So it looks like maybe they're running a Hela build. Interesting. I don't know if that's good or not, but it's definitely interesting. I'm going to go ahead and use the Space Stone to draw one additional card. I'm going to play the Power Stone just so that we have that additional hand space to draw additional resources. We get the Reality Stone, so we'll be able to change a location. Now, the Morbius does support the Hela build. That's really the only thing you ever see Black Cat in, is a Hela build. I know that I got hit last time for continually destroying the Power Stone. I don't think we're going to play Thanos. Thanos is like a very backline play line for this deck. And so I don't think in any scenario right now with the cards that I have in hand, we're going to end up playing that. So they played Negasonic in mid. Okay, the Negasonic was created from the hub, which makes sense. We're going to go ahead and make sure that the Negasonic gets destroyed with the Mantis play. Actually, we'll do the Time Stone. We'll do Mantis in the left lane. I doubt that they play a card, but if they do, it's going to be in the hub. Probably not Danger Room. It's okay. A little bit too risky, I would have imagined. But okay. So the Hell Cow comes down. It discards their Apocalypse. So is this a Hela Apocalypse build? It's a hybrid. Okay. Interesting. So we have Invisible Woman. We could hide a card behind that, but we've already used one of the two destruction tools, so we can only destroy Nimrod a max of one time here. Even if Nimrod doesn't destroy, we have Shang Chi for the hub location. I think we're okay here. I think we're going to snap into it. Oh, wow. So that is a very quick and early 4 cubes. I imagine they'd have a MODOK here that's going to discard their Apocalypse one additional time. But the early 4 is still scary. Okay, so the Ghost Rider comes up. It resummons their Black Cat. They have Blade, which does hit their Apocalypse. It does hit the 50-50. Oof. So Soulstone allows us to draw our magic. Our Nimrod does get destroyed here, so we could do a Venom in the left lane. And so if they play their Apocalypse, it's probably in the hub, maybe in the Danger Room. But if they played into the Danger Room, then we win the hub with the extra 3 from Venom. I think we're okay with the 8 cube risk here. And so the Apocalypse, yeah, the Apocalypse comes down. We have the Venom to send our cards back over into Danger Room. We have it in the big house, and that is an early 8 cube victory in this Gold Conquest run, which is wild. We will take it. We will take it. I really think they should have played that one a little bit more patiently. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. This is Battle 2 in our Gold Conquest run. Let's jump straight into the next round. Okay, so we get Time Stone, Reality Stone. We also have the Nimrod here, which is going to be really good. I'm going to go ahead and do Reality Stone into the Forge. They snap, so I'm going to stick it out. They're going to have to do that 5 times to be able to potentially stage a comeback. And so we have decent cards in our starting hand. They lose their Dracula right off, which is kind of unfortunate. Morag comes down, so unless they have a way to play multiple cards per turn, that becomes really tough for them to fight for. Let's go with a double drop into Muir Island. That's going to allow us to draw additional resources. We have Nimrod. We have the Taskmaster if we need it. If their middle location gets too big, we also have the Shang Chi. Then we do get the Shuri for turn 4, the Nimrod for turn 5. We already have Carnage. If we can get Venom as well, that's a double destruction. It doesn't look great. It does not look great for Nemoski. I almost think we're just not going to play anything here. We only have 2 destruction engines in the Carnage and the Venom, and I don't want to waste that. I want to be able to do a double Nimrod destruction on turn 6. And so let's go Shuri, we'll go Nimrod. And especially with us not having the second engine, I don't want to risk it yet. So they do resummon their Black Cat. I think it's going to be too little too late, honestly. Let's go with Nimrod. We can then do at least a Carnage. That's going to send some power into Morag. If they go Apocalypse, they're not going to be able to fit their Apocalypse over there. Their Calling Wing discards their Hell Cow. I think we go Destroyer. I'm going to do this instead. We could do Destroyer, but with Muir Island, I want to have 4 cards there at the end of the turn to soak as much extra power as we can. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but it makes me feel better. And so we get the Mind Stone that we did save for a couple of turns to make sure that we saved our Destruction Engine in Carnage. And so now we have the left lane, we have mid, we have a pretty big push in both of those. So they get Hellcow and Dracula. Do they have their Apocalypse? They do. All right, and so with the Hella resummon to resummon the Dracula to hit the discard with the Hellcow was beautiful. Both of them stacked just perfectly. We weren't able to overcome that much power. And so had we played that a little bit less greedy, maybe we would have been able to still win that one by kind of spreading out the power that we had. I couldn't have imagined that it would have stacked perfectly like it did. So we had the Soul Stone starting off. We have the Mind Stone and Reality Stone now. I think we're going to go ahead and play both of them. And we're going to snap into it. We're going to make them choose if they're confident here or not. If not, and they take the retreat, then next round could potentially be the last one without any kind of snapping mechanism going into it. And so they do stick this one out. We have the extra draw from the Mind Stone. The Reality Stone will allow us to draw just a regular resource in our Carnage. So now we have both of our Destruction Engines to be able to leverage. But I don't think we want to. Some Nimrod builds really lean on doing a double Nimrod destruction on the last turn. I don't think that's where this one necessarily shines. I'm going to go ahead and do the Space Stone. We're going to do Carnage to continue to draw resources. We're going to get a decent sized Carnage on the board. We're going to discount our Death a fair amount. And then we'll see. If we can get the Invisible Woman, that's a beautiful tech. The Invisible Woman into the Taskmaster is one that I really enjoy, but we haven't been able to see just yet. So they already have 7 cards here. We can play our Maximus before any kind of discards come down. So I don't think they're going to really draw that many additional cards. So we get our Death. So we can, okay, Blade discards their Hella, which may have been a top deck because of the Maximus. We don't know for sure, but I like to imagine that it was. The Black Cat also gets discarded. Their Hella's gone. That takes away a lot of their high roll now. So we do have Nimrod. I think we're going to angle to do a Death and a Power Stone on the last turn to bring this one the rest of the way home. Oh, so they extend the game with magic. Interesting. Okay. So if we do this order, this is going to bring our Death down to 2. 7 energy, we could do a Taskmaster plus Death on the last turn. Taskmaster is going to end up being 19 power. Now they could always shift the Limbo location again. I don't think they do. I don't think they have a lane change card or mechanism to change that location. And so we're okay doing this. Ooh, the Ghost Rider hits the Black Cat, not the Hella. Okay. And so the Nebula comes down. So I think we're just going to, I think we're coasting. I think we have this one cleared at this point. We're going to do Taskmaster into Limbo. We have the Death in the left lane. We have the increased power Thanos from the Power Stone in mid. And without them having a Hella to be able to resummon a lot of power on the board, even if they get something like a Dracula and a Calling Wing, wow, that's oddly specific. I don't think it's going to be enough for them to be able to find a way to win. They get very lucky with the Infinite discard, but it's not enough. We still sweep all 3 locations. And so we will finish off battle number 2 in our Gold Conquest run with an interesting Thanos build. I still want to set up the Invisible Woman into Taskmaster into a Shuri Destroyer outside of that lane, because it's such a surprising burst of power that you're able to do. And so with that one, we are going to jump straight into battle number 3. All right, so jumping straight in, we're going to see if we can finish off this. We're going to see if we can finish off this gold conquest run with the very unique Thanos build. We haven't got to utilize the full extent of its utility just yet, being in some of the more unique scenarios with like an Invisible Woman, hiding a Shang Chi behind that lane to make sure that we swing one back in our favor, and a lot of really cool ways that you can position your resources. All right, so for our last opponent, we have JediMasterZS. First location is Tinker's Workshop. We don't have any of our stones early on, which is not a good sign. We're going to go ahead and skip. Right now, we're just gathering some information about the opponent's deck. Okay, Medusa is an interesting one to see. Shadowland comes up. This could be... Honestly, I've seen Medusa in Electro ramps. It could be that. We have our Nimrod. We have Destroyer, so we're going to be able to get at least some extra power across the board. The Agent 13 comes down. We could take out both of these with Killmonger, but then that lets them know that we're running at least the Killmonger play. So I think right now, at least until they snap, we're just gathering information. We're just getting more information about what the opponent's running and what is this deck. What kind of deck is the opponent running? I know that Tinker's Workshop came down. They snapped into it. Like, this lane is not very big. Hitting this with an Odin's not huge. I think we stick this one out, oddly enough. We can do magic here. On turn 5, we can do Nimrod. On 6, we can do Destroyer. And then after that, we're just looking to have like a Carnage or a Venom to send our Nimrod around the board again. We also have the Shang Chi to counter what they have, any big power that they have on the board on that last turn. And so I think we stick this one out. We might even snap back at some point. So it's an on reveal style deck. So with the Wong coming down, they could have Black Panther that goes here. They could also have a Gambit into like an Odin potentially. I kind of hope they have the Gambit. The Gambit would be beautiful. No, the White Tiger. Okay, the White Tiger caps out their middle location. Unless they change this lane, I think we're okay. All right, we're gonna do Destroyer. If they change that left lane, it's unfortunate. Okay, so they go Ironheart. So they'll have an Odin to re-trigger the Ironheart many, many times. All right, I'm going to retreat out of this one. They have the Wong, White Tiger, Ironheart setup, which is really big. We had the Shang-Chi to take out their middle location. I think that would be enough to win that one. But with the Odin play here, re-triggering Ironheart, I don't think that was going to be quite enough for us to find a way to win that one. So we're going to retreat out for the 2. It would feel bad to lose against a Pixel Mantis. But we'll see. And so I'm going to go ahead and do Space Stone in the right lane. Now, a Wong ongoing deck is very, very strong, or it can be very strong. But it's also very counterable by things like Shang-Chi, by things like Cosmo. Unfortunately, we just don't have any of those built into our deck right now. Okay, we're going to do Power Stone and Reality Stone both into Miniaturized Lab. We're going to open that one back up. They do have an Iceman, which was generated by Agent 13. Okay, so we do have the Shuri Nimrod play. The only problem is that with the Avengers compound, we would have to do both of those into mid, not leaving us room to destroy the Nimrod. So I think we're going to go Venom here. We're going to go Soulstone instead. I don't like the idea of, even if we did Venom and consolidate this middle location, it's still not fantastic. The opponent changes it for us, which is phenomenal with the Scarlet Witch play. So we now have Shuri, Nimrod, Venom to potentially lean into here. I think that's at least worth a snap. The Shuri, Nimrod, Venom is going to be a huge left lane. We have Shang Chi to potentially take out any tigers that they have in Washington, D.C. So if they do like an Odin or a Wong and a White Tiger, we're perfectly fine with that in Washington, D.C. because that's a very easy Shang Chi target. Now they do a Shang Chi of their own. Let's go Nimrod. Even if they do an Odin to re-trigger, right now our Nimrod would be safe. So it's going to be 12 power that we can move across the board. The Wolfsbane comes down. And then the Black Widow. Interesting. Very interesting build, Jedi Master. And so they do end up retreating. So it now goes back to a 2-2. Let's jump into round number 3 to see if we can hold this one down. Okay, so we start off with Mind Stone. We have Killmonger. We have our Shuri. Ooh. Do we ever just draw all of our stones? It may not be a great idea, but I like it. We're going to play it into Bar Sinister. That's going to allow us to draw through all of our stones. We had a lot of destruction triggers with our Killmonger. I wouldn't do this if we didn't already have Killmonger in hand. We could do a Time Stone. We could do Soul Stone, Reality Stone. That's going to draw into additional cards, though. I think maybe we just do Power Stone here. That way we're able to naturally draw on this next turn. We have the Time Stone, so we'll be able to do like a Soul Stone and a Killmonger to get some incredible reach. Now they do play for Bar Sinister. I'm wondering if they have... Okay, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is interesting, but we'll take it. Okay, so with Asteroid M, any 3 or 4 cost cards will bounce over into Asteroid M. I'm very hesitant about the Reality Stone, so we're going to do Soul Stone and Killmonger here. We have 8 cards left in our deck. We could do both Space Stone and Reality Stone. If I do Reality Stone, it's probably going to be in New York. Now, if they have an armor, then we did destroy our cards before that came down. The Star-Lord is interesting. I guess they could do a Medusa, eventually an Odin to like really re-trigger these cards. I'm going to do Space Stone and Venom for now. We could have done Reality Stone, but I don't know that it's worth it. We also don't really want to use magic to extend the game just because it gives them additional turn to draw their key resources. Okay, so we get the Nimrod. Since this is only for 1 cube, I think we're going to try and pull a quick one on them. We have magic in the left lane to make sure that they can't move their cards over. So like the Wolfsbane, they're not going to be able to move over the Black Widow. They could use Odin on the Scarlet Witch to take that away. Okay, so they go Devil Dino instead. Interesting. No, that came from Agent 13. Okay. So we get the Death, which is one of the biggest things we could have asked for here. That'll allow us to do Destroyer and Death, or we could do this. I think we're going to opt to go with this. They did snap. It is for 4 cubes instead of the 1. The Shang Chi will take out the Wolfsbane, so even if they have something like an Odin here to re-trigger it, I think this should be enough in this lane. I think we're going to lock it in. Doing the Odin would probably be... Okay, so no Ironheart. Interesting. So that does leave a big right location, but we have a bigger middle location. We have the Shang Chi that comes as a surprise factor. We're going to steal the Oscorp Tower lane. We have the Atlantis location. And so just like that, they're down to 4 cubes. And so the Shang-Chi counterplay, whenever you really aggressively snap into or have 9+ power resources kind of lingering on the board, can be so difficult to snap into. We will take the 4. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next round, see if we can bring this gold conquest run the rest of the way home. So we don't have any of our early draw. We have the Power Stone, Killmonger, we have Shang-Chi, Nimrod. We don't have any of our stones. Oh, wait. Why'd they play into the Vibranium Mines? Unless they had all of the resources they thought they were going to need in their hand already? Death's Domain is huge. unless they change it, we can do Nimrod. That's an easy early destruction. We have the Venom to bounce it back around the board. Maybe eventually we get something like a Destroyer. So we're going to play for Death's Domain. Next turn, we'll go Nimrod into Death's Domain. Now, they could have White Tiger. White Tiger does allow them to have some reach into Death's Domain. But if we can get more than what they have, we could always do Shuri into Nimrod, both in Death's Domain. We could extend the game with magic. But I think we're just going to go Nimrod. I think that's our safest play. The stakes have not been increased just yet. They do have the White Tiger, so they could hit that with an Odin. And that's going to put into Death's Domain. Ugh. It'll trigger 4 more times. Alright, so since they snapped into it, we're going to go ahead and jump out of this one. It's only for 1 cube right now. If they had the Odin, then they would definitely be able to hold that one down. We're going to rinse and repeat where they don't have such a good setup with like the Medusa into Wong into something else. We're just going to rinse and repeat. We get magic, we could extend the game. The Lechugia, we don't get any of our stones early. They play for that left lane again, disrupting their potential draw, which is wild. We don't get any of our draw cards. The right lane turns into a default limbo. So right now we can do 4, maybe we do something else on 5. Do we think they gave up? What are they doing? I guess we should have saved the Killmonger for the Lechugia. Alright, let's use the Lockjaw from Camp Lehi. We'll draw a card with Soulstone, and then we're going to rotate. Maybe into Nimrod? No, into Mindstone. Okay, Mindstone's not terrible here. I am really confused by all the cards that they're playing into the Lechugia, though. We're going to do Carnage into mid. We'll clear up the Lockjaw, so Carnage actually triggers before Lockjaw rotation happens, and so we are able to make sure that it's not going to flip into anything else. We can change the left lane, that way we're actually able to fight for that location. We have the Time Stone coming down in Limbo. Now they have White Tiger, which goes over into the left lane. We know that they have Scarlet Witch. We can always change the Limbo location, so we want to make sure we at least put a decent amount of our resources over there. Oh. We don't feel great about that one, but we will take it. I feel like this has to be a bot, and we broke the bot. Jedi Master, if you're not a bot, I apologize for thinking you're a bot. But come on, these plays definitely look bot-like. Okay, so the Kiln is interesting here. They get some additional long-term reach with White Tiger. We can always get some additional reach with our Nimrod. We also finally have the ability to set up the Inviswoman into Shuri, into Taskmaster, into like a Destroyer play, which I've been looking forward to this entire run. Since building this deck, that is one thing that I had in mind, was that potential play. So back when Shuri was, before she became incredibly popular or very common, one of the builds that I ran utilized the Inviswoman with the Taskmaster. Of course, it became refined after a certain point, but that was kind of like the bare bones early game build that I had. And it'd be nice to be able to pull that combo off again. We know that they don't have Enchantress. A Wong here is very scary though. A Wong into an Odin would trigger an absurd number of times. Now with Shuri being here, we set it up, but I'm not sure that it's enough to win. With Shuri being set up here, we can then do Taskmaster into the Onslaught Citadel. We can then later do our Destroyer, and it's not an issue. Shuri will still trigger because the card of Taskmaster doesn't count as fully played until it's revealed. And so, ooh, they have the White Tiger. They could hit that with an Odin, but I think the 30 power is going to be more than enough. So we have the 30 power Destroyer that's going to come down that will copy with the Taskmaster. And so Destroyer's actually not going to destroy the Taskmaster because it's face down whenever Destroyer's ability is going to trigger. So it's the same thing as if we played Destroyer plus a 0 cost card or a 1 cost card or anything behind the Destroyer. It's going to count the Taskmaster the exact same way. And so let's go ahead and lock in. I've been looking forward to this for so long. I don't think the Odin to re-trigger the Medusa is going to be enough, or to re-trigger the White Tiger. I think we finally get the 30 power, the double 30 power trigger that I've been looking forward to this entire video. We get it as a fitting way to end the run, and so that is going to be our next infinite ticket. They unfortunately were not able to get the Wong for the Onslaught Citadel. We were able to come down with the double 30 power kind of burst. It's a very surprising amount of power that you can do whenever it sets up just perfectly. And so that is going to be yet another infinite ticket. We do finish off our gold conquest run. Overall, I think the Nimrod buff is okay. I don't think it puts him into a league of his own. I don't think it takes a regular destroy deck and just makes it absurd. It just gives you a little bit of additional reach sometimes when you may need it the most. And so we will go ahead and take our next infinite ticket that brings us up to 6 on this account. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.